All right, so next up here in the main plenary, we have PowerX Robotics, playing with the big toys, where you can explore the world of robotics if you're looking for a career switch or a chance to fulfill your long-time passion with some amazing machines. So this session includes an interactive segment where you get to navigate the world of robotics through the fresh eyes of our protagonists through a quick video series. So what exactly is this? Now, if you watch the series Black Mirror, not just Black Mirror Bandersnatch, you get options, right? So it will be exactly like that. Okay, so this will then be followed by an AMA, Ask Me Anything session with a mentor as well as a trainee. So here to share with us more, Senior Manager for Talent Networking from SG Innovate, I'm happy to welcome Sarah Cheng. Over to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Lester. A very good morning to all of you, and thank you for logging in to catch this segment. I'm Sarah from the Talent Networking team, and I'm the lead for the PowerX Robotics program. Since the pilot run of PowerX Robotics was launched last year at our first New Frontier, we've been heartened to see more robotics companies reaching out to us, interested to get on board this traineeship. And one of the reasons for this is that companies are looking to hire even more robotic software engineers. So what caused this increase in demand, and what does the robotics landscape look like today? To answer these difficult questions, please join me in welcoming Selina Xia, Manager, Advanced Manufacturing, Economic Development Board, EDB, to share more. Over to you, Selina.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for spending your Saturday morning with us. My name is Selina. I'm from the Economic Development Board, Advanced Manufacturing Division, where my team and I work to build a sustainable competitive advantage for Singapore in manufacturing. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to share an overview of the robotics industry in Singapore. Before we start, though, allow me to give a quick introduction of EDB and the importance of robotics to Singapore's economy. So EDB is the lead agency that plans and executes industrial development strategies for Singapore, and we're responsible for over 30% of Singapore's annual GDP across manufacturing and service sectors. Today, Singapore continues to be recognized as a business-friendly environment through talent, connectedness, and livability. We have a GDP of over 500 billion across a diverse range of industries, of which 20% comes from manufacturing. Over the years, we have built global leadership positions in industry verticals from both the manufacturing and services sectors, from aerospace and electronics to biomedical sciences, energies, and chemicals. And we're looking forward, going forward, to leveraging our strengths in new growth areas as well, such as environmental technologies and clean energy. So to the big question, why robotics? To sustain Singapore's long-term competitiveness, we have pursued a strategy based on technology creation and innovation. Technological advancements such as robotics are key enablers for Singapore, which allow us to overcome our natural constraints such as land, population, and are also crucial in helping us to sustain our global economic competitiveness in those industries which I've just mentioned. We anticipate that robotics will allow operations to become more agile and respond to quick and sudden changes, such as demand or supply chain shocks. We envision that robots will work alongside humans and allow us to do more with less, and more importantly, create a safer workplace environment to take on tasks that are dangerous for humans. For example, Spot from Boston Dynamics, the famous robot dog, is out there in Chernobyl measuring radiation levels. So what's our approach? To coordinate our efforts in this space, the National Robotics Program was established in 2016 to drive the end-to-end development and test bidding of deployment in robotics technology. This includes working with our research institutes to develop differentiating technology capabilities, forming public and private sector partnerships to accelerate the development of robotic solutions via living labs and test bits, and last but not least, enabling mass adoption for robotics in Singapore, including not just proliferating robots, but ensuring that we have the skills and that workforce to take on that future economy. So where are we today? Singapore has a vibrant and growing robotics ecosystem, which is a huge mix of robot OEMs, automation companies, and enablers. Not only are we home to some of the largest players in industrial robotics, such as Omron and ABB, we also have local companies and startups here, such as ST Engineering, who's working on robotic solutions in areas such as transport and logistics, but also MovelAI, which is a robotic navigation solutions with combinations from web technologies, sensor fusions, and computer visions. So in research specifically, what we do is that we work to identify and develop differentiating technology capabilities that can be applied to address our national challenges, such as the aging population, and transform our industries to be more productive. This includes component capabilities, such as navigation and perception, which include mapping and localization, human interactions. So the robot must have a speech recognition or object recognition capabilities. And of course, system capabilities, because when we're talking about robot deployment, it's not just one robot, it's many. So enabling robots to interoperate, have fleet management, etc. We also look at system and subsystem capabilities, such as having reconfigurable robots for inspection and cleaning, universal end effectors for handling different types of material objects beyond the industrial space, and assistive robots to help patients, for example, to walk, to balance, and go through their therapy. So all these robotics technologies can be applied and are very relevant to areas such as healthcare, built environment, as well as environmental services. So moving from the research space and beyond helping and building the frontier for research capabilities, we also seek to translate that research to accelerate development of robotic solutions in Singapore. Singapore serves as a living lab for companies to innovate and trial their solutions before regional or global deployment. We have test beds across these various sectors, from manufacturing to built environment. And for example, this is led not just by the public sector, but by private sector as well. So Infineon actually has a global test and competence center, which is the largest R&D center in Asia in Singapore. Over the years, the lab has progressively developed automated solutions using autonomous transport, robotic material management systems, etc. DHL is another example in logistics, which has an innovation center here, a test bed for emerging logistic-related technologies, and to showcase the latest innovations which reinvent the supply chains. So last but not least, from pre-deployment to commercialization and adoption, we are focused on building traction for robotics adoption in Singapore. Currently, Singapore is doing really well on this. According to the International Federation of Robotics report for 2018 and 2019, Singapore achieved the world's highest robot density. And currently, these densities are concentrated in the industrial sectors. Going forward, we seek to increase the proliferation of robots to other sectors as well, such as those mentioned, healthcare, built environment, environmental services. And for that, we're leveraging on our partners, and we intend to collaborate with them to build the relevant skills and talent. So that's the given state. Where are we going and where are we working towards? So this can be seen in 4 different prongs. Firstly, robotic trends globally. We see that advanced robotics is enabling a new generation of collaborative and service robots, which are increasing in human-like capabilities, flexibilities, and opening a world of possibilities for new robotic solutions and applications. These include areas such as logistics, inspection, maintenance, cleaning, you name it. So we intend to ride this wave to develop capabilities in these areas. Beyond this, we also notice a shift from not just the hardware aspect of robotics, but increasingly the importance of software, as robots have to take on more intelligent and complex tasks. So we're looking to expand robotics use cases and application areas via software differentiation, and also examining emerging business models such as robotics as a service. Thirdly, in terms of deployment, we're talking about system level capabilities to ensure deployment at scale. So for example, one of the challenges in doing this today is that there's a lot of different vendors out there in the markets with different protocols and different systems for their robots. This makes interoperability really difficult. And to solve this problem, what the National Robotics Program has funded and developed is the Robotics Middleware Framework. This is a suite of software libraries using ROS, which in simple terms enables different complex technology systems and robots to talk to one another according to a standardized framework. And through this, what this enables is to allow multiple fleets of robots to work together with each other to share building infrastructure such as lifts, doors, corridors, manage traffic flows, and also implement behaviors for these robots in case of emergencies, let's say a fire alarm. So it's not too far off. This solution has actually been piloted already in the healthcare sector, and it's led by the Center of Healthcare Assistive and Robotics Technology CHART, along with collaborators IHIS, Open Robotics, and Hope Techniques. They have developed an RMF for healthcare called ROMI-H, and this technology has been piloted to coordinate different robots fleets for different tasks. So for delivery of lab specimens, food delivery, ward delivery, etc., and disinfection. And last but not least, while we're focused on the capability side, building up that ecosystem, that workforce is extremely important to us. And we're very happy to work alongside our partners such as SG Innovate, as well as industry partners such as MovelAI to train the new generation going forward. And with this, I'm very happy to pass the time back to Sarah from SG Innovate to talk more about the PowerX program. Thank you.
Thank you for the insightful sharing, Selina. Happy to hear about the different projects and the bright situation the industry is in now, and looking forward to an even brighter future in the next few years. And if any of you are enticed by robotics and hope to start a new career as a robotics software engineer after hearing what Selina has shared, you'll be happy to hear what I have to share next. So following the successful pilot run of PowerX Robotics, we are going to launch a second run of the program. And run 2 will be similar to run 1, where trainees will be placed on a full-time 9-month traineeship, consisting of a 3-month structured training, followed by the 6-month on-the-job training with their partner company. So some of the competencies you will acquire during the traineeship include Python, C++, ROS, and many more. Trainees can look forward to monthly stipends of up to $4,000 during the traineeship and a potential full-time job at the end of it. So applications open today and will close in May. More details on the application process are shown on the screen. If you have any queries regarding this program, you can visit our website, drop us an email, or visit us at the SG Innovate booth on New Frontier today. We'll flash these details at the end of this segment, so be sure to stay till the end. But still not sure if you can tahan this intensive traineeship, don't worry. We've prepared an interesting interactive video to show you what it would be like in a day as a PowerX trainee when attached to your company. You also get to choose what the protagonist, Chermin, in the video does throughout her day. To choose what Chermin does, you'll need to participate in our poll at specific parts of the video, and we will show the corresponding video based on the option with the most votes. You'll find a poll function on your screen. Click that to vote at the relevant junctures. So are you guys ready? Here we go.
Let's see what it does. Oh my god. Oh no. It's taking so long. Hi everyone, I'm Trainee, Community and Brand Associate at Innovate. Today we're going to find out a bit more about what a robotics software engineer does. I'm going to have a little career switch, so bye boss. So when we talk about robotics, right, what I think about is like tray returns robots at kopitiams, or cleaning robots at hotels, Changi Airport, or even shopping malls. But I think I'm totally wrong in that aspect. So we are here at MovelAI, a Singapore-based robotics startup, to find out a bit more about the world of robotics. So let's go!
Hi, welcome to MovelAI. Come this way, please.
Hi guys, I'm Trainee and I'm going to be your colleague for a day. So I'm very excited to find out a bit more about the world of robotics.
Hi, Charmaine. I'm Abhishek.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Koon. And before we get started, maybe would you like to guess who is the founder?
Now, the ball's in your court. So who do you think is the founder of MovelAI? Please note that you have 15 seconds to poll and your 15 seconds starts now. Okay, your 15 seconds is up. If you didn't manage to poll this time, fret not. There will be another 2 polls moving forward. So let's see what's the winning choice. Wow, a large majority of you guys voted for Abhishek. That's pretty interesting. So if you like, tell us in the chat why you think Abhishek is the founder. But now let's see whether you were right.
Well spotted. So Abhishek is the founder and I am the trainee.
Could you share a bit more about MovelAI and maybe some of the projects that you're working on?
MovelAI is providing autonomous navigation software solutions to different hardware robotic companies. For example, this robotic company is using our software to make this robot move in an environment where it can kill the coronavirus using the UV rays.
Wow.
This robot is being used by the construction companies to detect the defects on the walls. So it goes around the walls and does the defect inspection.
Wow, okay.
And similarly, we have many more projects which we have done.
Wow, that's very amazing because I never knew you could apply it to other industries as
Exactly.
well.
That's what we are able to use our software for any different industries.
Wow, okay. So when was MovelAI founded and how big is your team right now?
So we were founded in December 2016
Okay.
and currently we are about 20 people with a mix of people from robotics, people from web development, people from marketing, sales, product development and R&D because we have to be on top of the game.
Now, I find it very amazing that your team is so big right now. So, how do you guys get started from a smaller team to where you are right now?
The journey has been quite exciting. When we started out, we spoke to a lot of hardware robotic companies and asked them the challenge or the problem they are facing.
Okay.
The one common problem which they were facing was the autonomous navigation, and the challenge to solve that problem gave birth to MovelAI.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing all this about MovelAI. I'm super excited to get started. Could you tell me what I can do today?
Alright then, let's get started. Yep, let's go. We have 2 projects for you today.
Okay.
One is software, one is hardware. In the software portion, you have to make the robot move in an L-shaped path.
Oh, okay.
In the hardware, this camera over here is wrongly placed. You have to think for a place where it can be mounted, where it can cover a larger area and can go into the charging station.
Oh, okay.
Which one will you choose?
Right, it's your turn to poll again. So what project do you want Chermin to work on, software or hardware? Your 15 seconds to poll starts now. Okay, let's see the winning choice for what project Chermin should work on. Wow, super large majority chose software. So I guess that would be what Chermin would be working on. By the way, do you guys feel like the robot looks a little bit like the taller version of R2D2? But anyway, let's see what task will be given to Chermin for the project. Let's go.
Okay, great. I'll let Kunhan explain you the technical details about the project.
Okay, so let's take a look at the first project, which is a software-related project.
Okay.
So for this, we'll be using this robot, which is a disinfecting robot. And it actually has two sensors, so one 3D LiDAR on top and one camera down below. For this task, we'll be using the 3D LiDAR to do a map of the environment.
Okay.
So the 3D LiDAR is good at measuring distances, so it can be useful for creating maps.
Okay.
So if you come over here, so here are some tasks that you will need to do. Firstly, you need to create a map of the environment. So using the LiDAR, you actually be able to map out this office, including the walls and some obstacles as well. Next, given the map that you have already created, you need to tell the robot where it is inside the map. And thirdly, after we have put the robot in the right position, then we can start to think about how we want to make the robot move in an L shape. And also, if there are any obstacles along the way, the robot should be able to avoid them. So we should not let the robot bump into any obstacles or any walls along the way. So for this challenge, you actually have two options.
Okay.
The first will be a solo challenge, where there will be limited guidance given to you. And the second will be a team challenge, where we'll be doing it together.
Okay.
So for the first one, the solo challenge, you have to complete the first 3 tasks. I'll guide you through how to use the software, but anything outside of that will be limited to yes, no answers.
Okay.
It's okay, we have confidence in you. Okay, for the team challenge, we'll be doing the first 3, and at the same time, we want the robot to dynamically avoid obstacles along the way as well.
Okay, so that's an additional challenge.
Yeah, so this will be more exciting, but also more difficult.
Yeah.
So which would you like to pick?
Wow, Kunhan is really good at explaining technical tasks in very layman terms. So it's time to poll again. This is the final vote you can make in this interactive video, so make it count. Would you like Chermin to work on the project alone or with our PowerX trainee Kunhan? Please note that your 15 seconds to vote starts now. Alrighty, that was some pretty soothing music. So 50 seconds is up. Let's see what's the winning option. Is it a solo or team challenge for Chermin? Oh, it's a team challenge, right? Okay, so let's see if Chermin and Kunhan can finish the project and deliver what they need to boss Abhishek. But before that, please remember to add any questions you have about the program or MovelAI and their robots in the chat using the chat function. And we may highlight these questions to both Abhishek and Kunhan during the AMA session after the video.
So now, before we start, we don't really have a map of this office yet.
Oh, okay.
So we need to create a map of this place.
Okay.
Okay, so over here, just go to the mapping part.
Okay.
And then once we start, then we can drive the robot around to kind of create the map.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And then once that is done, then we can think about doing the L-shaped kind of movement.
I see. Okay. So I have to manually drive the robot around. Okay. And that is done through the WASD.
Yep. You can just drive it around here.
I see. Okay. Sure.
So Kunhan, how's working with your new colleague going?
I think it's okay. Yeah, she learns pretty fast. Explain things to her. She's doing well. Yeah, I think she can do this pretty well. I think she'll make a good robotics engineer.
I need your help.
You guys hear that? Let me go take a look. So I think we have done the L-shaped path, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we can probably test it out.
Okay.
And see whether it can complete the path.
Okay, I hope it's successful.
But your real test would only begin if it can avoid this tool.
Alright, let's try it out.
Let's try it.
Alright.
So, we have come to the end of the day. How would you rate your performance today?
Well, I found it to be quite tiring and tedious because there were so many components that I had to work on. But as much as it's very challenging and tedious, I also found that it was very stimulating. Yeah, so all in all, I think it's a very interesting career to be in. You know, coming from marketing background to now step into robotic software. So I think it's a very exciting world to be in. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunities.
Sure. Koon, how will you see her performance today?
Yeah, I think out of 5, we feel 4. I think we did pretty well.
Right.
Admire your grit and tenacity to overcome obstacles, even though you face difficult challenges. And I think you showed good problem-solving skills as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I think what we are looking at a company are the same kind of candidates who may not have the robotic experience but can show the problem-solving skills and the grit and determination to get things done.
I see. Okay, so in a sense, you know, if people do not have prior robotics background, but if they have the right attitude, the right soft skills, then it is a stepping stone. It is a way to start getting the career.
Definitely, we always hire people based on their attitude, even if they don't have the robotic skills.
I see. Wow, that's great, man.
You did a good job.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. So Koon, could you share a bit more about your journey since I understand that you did not have a robotics background?
Yeah, so you're right, I did not have a robotics background. I was actually a data analyst for almost 2 years before this. So I was a data analyst at an accounting firm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I actually did a little bit of programming there, but quite a lot of my work is consulting, liaising with clients, making reports for them, on top of all the data analytics works as well.
I see. So, you know, having you coming from like accounting background, it was so different. So, what actually influenced you to make a career switch then?
So I already had an interest in software, but then recently I had a bit more interest in like sensor stuff as well, and like using sensors, a bit more physical element to it.
I see.
And robotics is kind of a nice blend between the software and this hardware stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had this interest in robotics, and then I guess the opportunity for this program came up, and I just went straight for it.
Okay, wow, that's very interesting to hear. So I wanted to find out, you know, along the way while you are career switching, were there any challenges?
Yeah, I think definitely there are some challenges, especially when there's a step up in like the rigor of like the software engineering stuff, and moving to a new domain like robotics. There's definitely challenges. But I do think the PowerX program did help to prepare me somewhat for my role here at Movel. So having done the basic training, we went through like basic software that is used in robotics. It's quite common software is used in all robotics companies. So we got some hands-on there. And then the capstone project that we did in the training program really gave us some kind of like a deep dive into what programming a full solution is. Yeah, so it's a basic, but it is a full solution, and we got some hands-on with that, and that really helped us to ease into this new role. Yeah, I really hope you enjoyed your time here today, and it was fun for me to be a mentor for one day as well. So really glad that we did this.
Alright, thank you so much. Yes, Pangkang.
Guys, it's a wrap. Yeah, let's go.
Thank you so much for joining me on my journey as a robotics software engineer for today. So I have made a new friend myself, my little robot here. So, you know, after going through today's challenge, I felt that, you know, I thought it was as simple as ABC, But I didn't realize that there was so much complexity and components behind on the back end. So it's quite amazing and intriguing to be able to learn a bit more about robotics. And also, not coming from a robotics background, I felt that with a little bit of guidance and mentorship, it is possible for you to embark on this role. I hope you enjoyed this snippet into the world of robotics. If you're looking to pivot your career into the deep tech space, then check out our PowerX program. Alright, it's goodbye for real. Come, let's go.
Right. We hope the video gave a very good idea to what a day in the life of a PowerX trainee looks like. And although the project looked pretty straightforward, a lot of the hard work done by the MovelAI team and the trainees are behind the scenes. So even though attitude and grit are no doubt important for a trainee looking to start a career in robotics, but it's also important for the trainees to have basic knowledge of programming, especially for PowerX Robotics. So I'm sure some of you have questions. I'm looking at the list now, and I think some of you have questions for Abhishek and Koon after watching the video. And so it's time for our Ask Me Anything segment. We will be prioritizing questions that is more relevant for Koon and Abhishek. And any question that is specific to the program can be asked at our SG Innovate booth, or we will get back to you via email. So let's prioritize the time for Abhishek and Koon. So welcome Abhishek and Koon to join us. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey, hi.
All right. How are you guys today?
Doing good, yeah. Thanks for inviting us.
How was the video?
It was pretty exciting. I think Charmin did a pretty fantastic job on that day. She managed to learn a lot of stuff, and I think it's pretty easy to learn robotics if given a right training.
Yeah, so I was looking at some of the questions, and I think like one of the audience members actually asked, was it easy to transit? I think this question is more for Koon. So was it easy to transit from your previous job into your current role? I think you mentioned some things about structured training, some of the difficulties. Could you reiterate a bit, like, what were the major difficulties or obstacles that you faced from this transition?
Yeah, okay. I think that's a great question. So was it easy? I think the simple answer is no. But of course, okay, so I think the main challenges were getting used to a new domain. So coming into robotics is you deal with different stuff every day, right? So it's quite different. So getting used to that. And also coming from previously I was a data analyst, like what you guys saw in the video. So coming into this role was this quite a step up in the software engineering rigor. So that was something that I needed to get used to as well. But of course, I think that the structured training definitely helped a lot. Kind of brought everyone through the basic concepts. So by the time we were at our companies, we kind of had some working knowledge to get something started and could communicate with the team and things like that.
That's nice. Looking at the questions posed, I do notice some of the current runs of trainees, right? They are also watching you right now. I believe they will be aligned to what you just mentioned in terms of the difficulties faced as well. The next question is more for Abhishek. So someone asked, how long did your company take to develop the software that was shown in the video just now? And what are some of the challenges that you guys faced while building it?
Okay, sure. So I think we have been around for 4 years. The software which we developed initially, so there are 3 different stages to development of a software or a one. First is an exploration where we went ahead and spoke to a lot of different robotic companies and found out how they want the software to be, installed. And then when we gave the software, the next part comes as a UI part, which is the user interface for controlling that software. So the software itself took us around 6 to 8 months initially, but the user interface again took 6 to 8 months on top of it. Then you have to connect the user interface with the software. So in all, it took us about 1.5 years to develop the same thing. But of course, it's not just done by one person. It has been done by a team. at different stages, and it all depends on how what the customer needs or what the robotic companies need at that particular moment.
Okay, then in relation to that question, right? So the robot that appeared in the video, how long was the whole development process, hardware and software?
So for the hardware robotic company, when we got this project, they took it around 4 to 6 weeks to manufacture the hardware of the robot, and for us it took us around 2 to 3 weeks to put the software on top of it. But once the software has been put, it's the next software can be put on the next robot in within a couple of hours, and you can calibrate it. So basically, if your robot is ready, it can go to market the next day.
Okay. I think the next question could be relevant to both, but I would like to hear Abhishek share a little bit more first. So one person asked, like if a person has only hardware engineering background, how is the best way to bridge that gap in terms of what you're looking for in a software engineer, especially in robotics? So how can we help to bridge that gap for a hardware engineer to then contribute to MovelAI? So maybe Abhishek can share, and I think Koon, you can follow up with your real life experience. I know you have programming background, but if you've seen fellow trainees with more mechanical engineering or more hardware engineering background, like what you saw from the process as well. So Abhishek, please.
Sure. So even if you have a hardware experience, I think that's good, because that's kind of when you go to the customer, that helps when you're integrating the software on a hardware. So hardware knowledge does help in that. For the software, you can just start taking up online classes or learn through YouTube through some programming languages. And I think over here, PowerX plays an important role, because that prepares you for the basic stuff which we need for the robotics in terms of the software development for this robotic. But at least if you have a basic knowledge of software, that's good enough for you to start on the robotics. So maybe you can learn it online. You don't really need to be an expert in software to start this.
Thanks for the special mention of the PowerX Robotics program. So Koon, what do you think when you about the question?
Yeah, so I think just looking at some of my peers, so I personally, I'm not the best at hardware. I'm kind of the opposite. I'm still trying to learn some hardware. But looking at my peers who are more come from more hardware background, I think the first thing would be getting used to writing and using software. So I see the hardware guys are usually already very good with their hands. But then so we'll be getting used to working in a software environment. So programming, how to run the program, stuff like that. And also just getting comfortable with how to work with both hardware and software together. So I think that's the unique thing about robotics. There's kind of two sides to it, and both have to work at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, so the next question was, based on your experience, both Koon and Abhishek, is it possible for a person without programming language to pick up ROS right away? Because I think one thing that we mentioned in our program requirement as well is to have some basic programming skills. If someone has no programming skills at all, what would be some of the difficulties in picking up ROS directly without having C++ or Python as a base?
Sure. So I think a little bit of programming knowledge does help in understanding ROS or even the programming at a higher scale after that. Because if you know how you write a program, you would have some logical ability to solve those kind of challenges which you might face later on. Having no programming skills might be a bit challenging, but as I said, you don't really have to be an expert. I think there are some online classes, or maybe like you can watch some YouTube videos and you can pick those things up within 10 to 15 days. So basic software programming for getting up to that. So it's not like you have to spend half a year or like that. Maybe 10-15 days are enough to pick up some basic knowledge for software for you to start on ROS.
Okay, cool.
So I think if you should definitely get a little bit of hands-on with programming first. It's kind of I mean, if I were to rephrase the question, then maybe I could rephrase it like, okay, so if I haven't learned Spanish yet, then can I write a story in Spanish? You know, so I guess it's taking steps like that, right? So we're getting used to doing programming first, and then after that you can use programs to solve robotics problems. So definitely I think there is some sort of progression here. But if you really want to just jump into ROS, then you can try to find I guess lessons that are more specific to programming with ROS. So you don't need to learn all the other stuff like all the machine learning stuff. You can learn that later. You know, just if you're interested in ROS, then learn the ROS thing first.
Right, or they can learn through machine learning stuff through the PowerX Robotics program. Okay, so I think one of the questions here, I think is more for Abhishek. Many people have ideas. How do you get your idea developed from your team? And do you have to start it first? So in terms of idea development and how does that process go, especially in MovelAI?
Sure. So like ideas are always welcome because ideas are something which always help the company grow. So if someone has an idea, they share with us that if we do this thing in a different way, or if we move into this, that's definitely we welcome it. But we do take a feedback from the robotic companies because sometimes as a company, yes, that idea might be very good, but if no one is ready to use that product, there's no point of working on that idea in a company or maybe in a startup. So what we do is if we have an idea, we go and take some feedback from the customers itself, like what if we should give you this, what if we give you that, and we try to analyze what is their take on it. If it's a positive response, then we definitely start working on that idea.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. There's one question specific to Koon. How much of programming courses or formal training do you have to go through before starting the PowerX program? I think I remember you have some background in programming, maybe one or two languages, right? So sorry. So can you share a little bit more about your background in this programming courses?
Okay, so if you're talking about my background, then it's a bit more programming in machine learning or data analytics concepts. So it's a bit different, right? So I'm concerned about munching data, automating like plotting charts, you know, stuff like that. It's quite different from robotics. But I guess back to the original question. I guess doing this, it doesn't translate directly per se, but because you are kind of working on the computer, you're kind of using writing programs all the time. So it's more of like a familiarity. So if I were to use a metaphor, it's kind of like the ground is a bit soft already. So then when you plant the seeds, then the seed can grow. So it's something like that.
Right, I really like your metaphors. I should learn from you. I think due to the time constraint, maybe just one generic question for the both of you. It's the same question. So Abhishek, you can go first. So the question is, what is robotics to you?
For me, robotics is the future. I think as the world progresses or the time goes by, I think we will not be limited by maybe few robots for a few hundred people, but maybe one person would be surrounded by 3 or 4 different robots. So you have started seeing those cleaning robots in the houses. There would be some telepresence robot which you can use for talking to. Then there could be robots which are even cooking for you in your kitchen. There could be some robots which are bringing you coffees or something like that. So, and then you have those desktop robots where they will remind you for the task which it is doing. So in a way that a human might be surrounded by 3 to 4 different robots. So for me, robotics is the future. Yeah.
Okay, Koon, sorry, just before you share, I'm expecting a different answer from you. So yeah, what is robotics to you?
Yeah, I think robotics to me, so I speak a bit more in a technical sense. So it's like a nice blend of software and hardware. So getting the robot to do tasks accomplish certain tasks in a certain environment, and so it has to understand the environment in its own little way. And I think the future of robotics to me is robot and human interaction. So how can a robot work together with humans, or how can humans work together with robots?
Okay, thank you Abhishek and Koon for sharing more insight today about the company, the traineeship, and I'm very happy to see Koon you doing so well in MovelAI. Our segment is coming to a close shortly, but your new deep tech career could just be taking flight. So if you're interested to be working with robots just like Abhishek and Koon don't forget to apply for our PowerX Robotics program launched today. You'll see a blurb on your screen with the details on where you can go if you have queries on the program. So thank you for joining us in this segment and hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. See you!